In a major development today in the RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital rape and murder case in which a second-year doctor was raped and murdered inside hospital premises, the CBI, which took over the investigation after widespread protest, filed the first charge sheet. In its charge sheet filed before a special court, the CBI said that Sanjoy Roy, who was working as a civic volunteer with the local police, allegedly committed the rape and murder on August 9th when the victim had gone to sleep in the seminar room of the hospital during a break. The CBI has also sought a death penalty for Sanjoy Roy. The agency did not mention charge of gang rape, indicating that Roy acted alone and committed this crime by himself. Remember, that had been one of the big allegations that was being made on social media. Trinamool Congress claims they have been vindicated as the Kolkata Police arrested the accused the next day. Sanjoy Roy was arrested by the Kolkata Police on the 10th of August, a day after the crime. The Trinamool Congress now claiming that all the massive protests and the controversy over the case was to destabilize the Mamata Banerjee government. Well, to talk more about this, we're now joined by Dr. Aparna Mohanta, protester in Kolkata and general physician, Shikha Mukherjee, senior journalist. Dr. Aparna Mohanta, first, your reaction to the CBI's first charge sheet filed in the case.
Good evening. Right. The interim report shared by the CBI today with the Shialda court is in line with the existing judicial norms of our country. As responsible citizens, both here as protesting doctors and there on the media, we cannot be privy to the contents. So deliberating in ifs and buts to the documentations of the report, I think would not be responsible. And especially when an entire nation is looking forward to the final verdict. So I presume
this now means that the case can begin in court. The first charge sheet is filed. There's no indication of, what was earlier being talked about, the gang rape. That was already spoken of in the Supreme Court, because remember, the Supreme Court too is looking into this entire matter. But one of the demands of the doctors was, and we know that doctors have gone, on hunger strike again, and they're saying they have not got enough security and they want justice in this case. So one of the demands was that the CBI should move faster. So now, with the filing of this charge sheet?
Yes, this is an interim report. We are waiting for the final report, and we pray that the Supreme Court take cognizance of the final report and gives the due verdict, the punishment that the perpetrators deserves, and especially those who enabled the heinous murder to happen. So deliberating on the documents which we are not privy to would not be
all right. Well, so you're saying that this is interim, but it is the first charge sheet. Yes, there can be subsequent charge sheets as well. Shikha Mukherjee, as a senior journalist who's been, tracking all these developments, and let's face it, there are two issues here. One is, of course, the outrage and the demand of doctors, very justified, for better security in hospitals, and then the actual rape and murder that took place, and the kind of, controversies and the speculation and the ugly stories that floated on social media. Now the Trinamool Congress saying that we arrested the perpetrator the very next day. The Kolkata Police arrested him the very next day.
Well, yes, so that's the fact. One can't dispute the facts, even if there were horrific stories which were in circulation, some of it manufactured, some of it kind of embroidered for a particular agenda, in pursuit of a particular agenda. Having said that, I think the doctors need to understand that a charge sheet which is filed is not interim. There may be subsequent charge sheets that will be filed. And secondly, the Supreme Court is in no hurry to deliver a verdict on this, because there is a process that a charge sheet, and then the hearing and the trial, and then subsequent stages of the trial at different levels of the judicial system have to go through. So there is nothing to which the doctors can make demands that do it tomorrow. And this is a point that I've been talking about for a pretty long time, that impatience, as the Supreme Court has very clearly pointed out, is not good for anybody, especially on an issue which is as sensitive, as heinous as a crime is. And therefore, this whole thing that we are waiting for the Supreme Court, Is that trying to exert pressure on the Supreme
Right,
Court?
and that's the point I tried to make, that this is a charge sheet. They have laid out, where their investigation is standing currently. And yes, there could be subsequent charge sheets, but for the moment, Sanjoy Roy is the main accused. Yes, there's a separate investigation regarding tampering of evidence. We're also joined by Yashovardhan Azad, former IPS officer and former Central Information Commissioner, and Kapil Sankla, lawyer in the Supreme Court. Yashovardhan Azad, your comments on the matter so far. Finally, the CBI has filed this charge sheet in which it is said that Sanjoy Roy is the only accused. There's no mention of anyone else being involved in this crime. And while the Supreme Court is hearing the matter, for the moment, Trinamool Congress saying that this was solved the next day with the arrest of Sanjoy Roy, and it was only because of the larger protests and controversy that the CBI was even brought into this case.
In this case, they're absolutely right. The accused was caught the very same day, the next day, and this is exactly what had happened. And much of the issues like this, unfortunately, get caught in the political quagmire and is very, very unfortunate. In fact, a lot of allegations and a lot of rumors were being spread about gang rape, etc., etc. And in fact, as an ex-cop, I would even wonder as to why the CBI took such a lot of time, because actually the evidence to be submitted in that case was already, with the CBI. And there were, of course, a lot of issues raised about destroying the evidence, etc., etc., and things like that. And what I found was a little amazing was there were more media attention on the disproportionate asset case of the principal than this particular case, which was actually the heart of the issue on which the doctors were agitating. So now I think the doctor should come back. There shouldn't be any problem about the basic, cases like this. These are inside jobs. Now, in these inside jobs, you cannot say that the law and order is bad when on a rickshaw, a poor nurse is pulled out and gang raped by people. In this case, this was done by somebody who was inside the hospital, and this can happen anywhere in the world. The security establishment in the various institutions like hospitals need to be strengthened. For that, the principal, and there is also a security officer who should be, commandeered, that there should be a set of SOP, and that should be looked into. And I think the doctors should come back to work and stop these protests, because this is important, because the main accused has been caught.
Right, and that's as far as justice in the case goes, and the case is proceeding. Yes, I understand if doctors are saying we haven't got that security that we've been demanding yet, but that too the government claimed would take time. Kapil Sankla, your comments on this, as Mr. Yashovardhan Azad said that this entire matter got highly controversial, politicized. Too many stories were being spread on social media and distrust of the Kolkata police, and then the CBI taking a very long time to put the facts out in the open, but now the first charge sheet has been filed.
Well, I would agree with Mr. Azad on the first part and not the second part, and the reason is this. You see, the purpose of bringing in CBI was because questions were being raised as to the investigation by the local investigation, which is the Bengal police. Now, that did require bringing on of CBI and CBI checking all other avenues, all other cases, all other theories. And that is the purpose of any investigation, that you check what if and could this also be an angle. And so times are taken. In this particular case, what had happened was, Mr. Azad, I'm agreeing with you, I'm just saying something else. In this case, what had happened was that the main perpetrator is somebody called a civic volunteer, which basically is like a mukhbar or a special officer that police walas have to get local information, etc. That particular person usually has inroads with certain officers, and this is exactly what had happened. Therefore, the SHO has also been implicated, and then the principal has also was arrested, etc. So now it was imperative on part of CBI to check every angle, because what if there was a case of gang rape? What if evidence was tampered with? What if there was somebody else who was the actual perpetrator?
Right.
We don't know. And that is the purpose of CBI.
All right.
And lastly, you're absolutely right that the Mr. Azad is right that this could happen anywhere in the world, and the doctor should come back. But this does bring a larger question before you, that doctors are unsafe. So are journalists, so are lawyers, so are people
No,
on the ground.
absolutely. And the Trinamool Congress now saying that the person, who was responsible was arrested, but yes, CBI brought in because so much, controversy was created, so much distrust was created. Final word, Dr. Parna Mohanta, to you, after hearing, what the panelists have to say, the doctors continuing with a hunger strike, don't you think it's time that they, come back and continue to build pressure for better security?
Yes, with due respect to the panelist, I would take a word here. I would take strong objection with the word stories, because it is not the stories that are doing the rounds. It is the reality which is happening on ground in West Bengal within a system that failed to protect their daughter while she was working. And this didn't happen by a single man named Sanjoy Roy. And so we cannot deliberate on something that we are not privy to. It can be an interim report. We will be waiting for the final report that the CBI would place before the Supreme Court, and then the Honorable Supreme Court will take the due observation, and I'm sure the justice will prevail, because it is not an open and shut case that actually is showing on the maybe today
Right, but
that
the CBI has put its first charge sheet, as we keep reiterating. It's not an interim report; it's the first charge sheet so far. They
yes.
have ruled out gang rape. It seems nobody else has been blamed in this. And as far as the corruption and the other issues go, that's an entirely separate matter. But yes, security of doctors remains a big issue. Thank you so much all for joining us on the program. The CBI filing its charge sheet in the RG Kaur rape and murder case.